Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pechay Show Season 3. I'm your host, Sharee, and in this podcast, we talk about everything and anything about sex and sexuality, love and relationships, because we believe makulay ang buhay sa sinabawang Pechay. Magandang gabi mga kapechay and welcome to round 29 of the Pechay Show. For this week, ang topic natin ay a little bit connected dun sa previous episode natin, which is usapang BDSM with a special guest, Trisha O'Bannon. For this week, we will be talking about edging, also known as controlled orgasms, peeking, teasing, and surfing. To start, what is edging? If you're unfamiliar with this, basically, ang meaning niya is trying to hold your orgasms for as long as possible, whether during masturbation or during sex. You might be wondering, what is the point of doing that? If you are new to this, then it's just right that we enumerate the many benefits of edging. Besides the obvious, which is that it is a fetish or a kink for some people. Advantages of doing edging include the following. First, this is a little bit particular to women. Edging helps women have orgasms. Kasi alam naman natin na hindi lahat ng sex ay nakakapagpa-cum sa mga babae. And hindi lang siya depende sa performance ng partner. The lack of orgasms could also come from different factors like stressed out or kulang sa tulog or wala talaga sa mood or andyan na rin yung hindi tama yung stimulation na gagawa. But there are also people, men and women alike, who have a difficulty with achieving orgasms. And edging is one of the ways na pwedeng ma-achieve yung orgasm na hinahanap-hanap natin. We will talk about this a little bit more later kasi merong medical and historical background behind edging. Another benefit is that kung you are one of the lucky people who are able to achieve orgasms on a regular basis, then yung advantage for you is that edging could intensify orgasms. Ang hirap i-quantify ng quality ng pagkakam mo, but the thing is, kumbaga, bakit mo isa-subject yung sarili mo sa pagpigil ng isang napakasarap na bagay, right? Just think of it na if you edge yourself like 2 or 3 times during play, when you finally allow yourself to come, it's 2 to 3 times more intense and more pleasurable. That's, I think, the best way to put it because it's hard to quantify these characteristics. In relation to that, another benefit of edging is to extend sex. Kasi I think this is most applicable to male and female intercourse. According to studies, ang average time for men to come is 5.4 minutes. While for women, it's 13 minutes and 25 seconds. And if you look at those numbers, more than twice, almost thrice, yung time that it takes for a girl to come versus the time it takes for a guy to come. So, by edging, a guy could prolong sex, which would be beneficial to both parties. Again, related to that, edging could help with increasing stamina. Kasi with all things, practice makes perfect, right? So, kung you're into sports, the more you practice, the better you are at it. So, ganun din with sex. If you practice on holding your orgasms, then tumatagal yung resistance mo, yung stamina mo before finally coming. Finally, there are some non-physical benefits to edging that I highly approve of, including improving your self-awareness and your confidence levels. Being able to control when you are gonna come is not just hot and sexy, it's also very empowering. Kasi during sex, there are so little that we are in control of. You know, all of the sensations and the stimulations that we receive and we give are parang out of our hands eh. Parang we just give in to these feelings and these instincts, right? So being able to control, to stop, and to let go of orgasms, it's just another level of improving your self-confidence pagdating sa sex. And if you belong in a dom-sub relationship, it is important to have that amount of control kapag you're in a play, you're in a scene, and your dominant tells you that you cannot come until he or she allows you to come. You should be able to do that or for the scene to be fulfilling for both parties. Finally, this might not come across the minds of many people when they think about edging, but many people agree, and I agree, that it is something that could definitely improve and increase the communication and that level of trust between partners during sex. Kasi you're basically putting your body and your pleasure on the hands of another person. Na, I trust you that you would be able to tease me just the right amount. Kasi there are dangers to edging too much. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, being able to pull off edging, lalo na kapag during sex, is very satisfying and also a sign of compatibility in bed and in mind na din, I think. Kasi parang unless you talk talaga during sex, you have to understand each other's body language and cues, signaling each other kung nasan na kayo, kung hanggang saan pa yung kaya mo, kung hindi mo na kaya if you have to come right now. And pulling it off, it means you guys have great chemistry and communication. And, well, let's state the obvious. Edging is advantageous if you guys are really into teasing. It's the ultimate tease. Like, parang you're not just arousing each other, you're letting each other reach the point of coming and then stopping over and over and over again. As long as it's physically possible, right? So, ayun. As I mentioned earlier, edging is not just a thing sa kink community. It's also something that has existed for a while. Back in 1956, actually, may mga hospitals na gumamit sa edging as treatment for men who experience premature ejaculation. And to better explain that, let's talk about the different ways kung paano ba ginagawa ang edging exactly. Lalo na kung wala pa kayong idea how edging works, what it is, how you do it. We will highlight different ways on how edging could be done. First one is the most basic one, and this is also the same method that was used clinically to treat premature ejaculation. This one is called the start and stop method. Basically, just like how it sounds, it is edging till the peak of arousal and then stopping. To do it, this is something that you can do on your own and or during sex. So, if you are masturbating, you can start by making sure you have the right ambience, tama yung mood. Let's let it be natural. You have to be horny, right? Hindi yung pinilit mo lang para itry mo siya. So when the environment is perfect, turn down the lights if you want, play some music if you want, kung ano man yung trip mo. Then start getting in the mood by closing your eyes and touching yourself until you get wet or you get hard. Then start stroking yourself, whatever it is that you know is sigurado na makakapagpakam sa'yo. So keep going, and when you feel like malapit ka na, stop. Take your hands away or bagalan mo yung movements mo than the usual. Take a deep breath, buksan mo yung mata mo, and this time, try to focus kung ano yung specific things or strokes or movements that got you really excited. Then tandaan mo, take a mental note of those things, and after a while, start touching yourself again. You can even go faster this time. Keep doing it until you feel like you're close and you're ready to come. And if you can, and if this is your first time, then one round of edging is enough. So let yourself go, let yourself reach orgasm. Right off the bat, I think you would be able to notice that your cum is stronger, more intense, or even longer in duration. So, tandaan mo yung feeling na yon and try to compare kung merong effects or differences na cause ang edging pagdating sa pleasure na na-feel mo. And if you want to do this again in the future, you can even add 2 to 3 more rounds of edging to make it even more intense. So, what about kapag may kasama ka? It's basically the same thing except may isang tao lang. So, get in the mood, mag-foreplay kayo to get aroused, get hard and get wet. You can have oral sex or penetration while doing other arousing things like playing with your nipples or whatever it is that turns you on. It would also help na vocal kayo during the time na malapit ka ng labasan, or at least make some cues or show some body language that you're close. And during this period, your partner should either stop completely or reduce yung stimulation na ginagawa niya para bumalik ka dun sa plateau phase of arousal. And after a little bit, have him or her start the stimulation process again and repeat the process until malapit ka na naman ulit. And it's up to you guys kung ilang beses nyo gagawin. But the important thing is, once you finally let it go, it is way more intense and probably longer than your usual orgasms. So that is the most basic method and pinaka sikat din. The second method is called the squeeze method. This is very straightforward and it applies to men. So guys, get yourself aroused and touch yourself until you're close to orgasm. And right before kayo mag-cum, squeeze nyo yung ulo ng penis ninyo to stop the orgasm. Wait half a minute and then stimulate yourself again. Repeat the process until you can no longer take it. And once you let go, you would be able to tell the difference. The third method is called ballooning. May different variations of this. Yung iba gumagamit sila ng Kegels exercises while some don't. So it's up to you kung gusto nyong gawin yon. But basically, the first step is to find or locate isang part or area ng penis ninyo na super sensitive. Yung alam nyo sa sarili nyo na if you touch that part, siya yung nakakapagpa-trigger ng orgasm ninyo or siya yung pinakamasarap sa pakiramdam. So, once you've chosen that spot, touch it and stimulate it. Pero, huwag kayong hahawak ng any other part of your penis. Yung isang area lang na yun. Initially, use maybe one finger around that area in a circular motion. Keep rubbing hanggang super hard ka na and huwag kang titigil hanggang malapit ka ng labasan. And right before orgasm, you stop touching it completely. Allow your dick to get soft a little bit. And kapag na-feel mo na medyo lumambot siya, rub it again hanggang tumigas and you're close again to orgasm. And just keep repeating the process until you can't take it anymore and let it go. It's called ballooning kasi parang I think the idea is parang nagdi-deflate and inflate yung balloon, aka the penis, during the process. The fourth method is quite straightforward. It's basically using sex toys for girls. Kapag malapit na kayo labasan, just turn it off and turn it on again and keep on going until you can no longer hold it and come. Another simple method is diversion, wherein either yourself or your partner uses a gentler touch on the same body part or magmo-move siya sa ibang body part. Like, if he's going down on you, tas malapit ka na, he's gonna stop and he's gonna finger you instead, or gonna suck your boobs or something, and just go back and keep repeating the process. The next technique is tantric technique. Kapag malapit ka ng labasan, you are advised to slowly inhale, and while doing this, binivisualize mo daw yung energy from either your penis or your vagina towards your head. Nakakatulong dito if you have a partner and they are grazing their fingers from your feet pataas papunta sa ulo mo. I know this is quite hard, and I personally don't know how to do this kasi I think it requires a proper method and possibly training. But kapag daw na-achieve mo to, it is believed to be yung tinatawag nilang full body orgasm. So, if you guys are into tantric sex, possibly alam nyo na to. The next way to edge someone is the kind of edging that is more common in BDSM play. It's also known as restraining orgasms or controlling orgasms. Basically, the dom holds the power or the control, and he or she decides when the sub or the bottom is allowed to come. So I'll let you guys imagine that, but that's basically all there is to it. Dito pumapasok yung begging and denying and obeying. So if you guys want to know more about that, make sure that you have listened to round 28, Usapang BDSM with Trisha O'Bannon. Finally, the last method to edge is via masturbation. Pinaka simple at pinaka basic. It's just practicing on your own. I advise na kung interesado ka sa edging and kung may partner ka and they seem interested in it as well, it could help na gawin mo muna siya mag-isa when you're playing with yourself first bago mo gawin during sex. So there are no rules really with practicing how to edge yourself, but I would recommend not doing it every day. Say you touch yourself every day. Try edging every other day now for like 5 to 10 minutes. And when you get better at it, the longer you go, the stronger the intensity of the orgasms. And with that note, how long should you edge yourself, or how long should your partner edge you? Walang tamang isang sagot lang with this question. Again, it all depends on yung level of communication between you and your partner. Hindi lang with words, actually, it's with body language. Kasi lalo na if you guys are in a dom-sub relationship and you are fully submissive, you will try to obey your dominant as long as you could. Minsan, even without begging, the dom could tell na kailangan nang mag-come nung sub. Otherwise, it's gonna lead to something that is known as disappearing orgasms or half orgasms. These do happen kapag yung edging ay hindi ginawa ng tama. For example, you stopped too soon or you prolonged the denial for too long. Minsan kasi kapag tumatagal, parang naglalaho na even if the person is able to come, hindi na siya kasing intense as nung goal natin. Parang hindi na build enough yung intensity kasi either too short or too long yung pag-edge. So again, dito pumapasok na dapat may pagkakaintindihan talaga kayo, both yung receiver and yung nag-edge. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be effective. Another possible consequence is having a dry orgasm wherein you feel the same sensations that you feel when you are coming as you often do. But this time, if you're a guy, there's no ejaculate coming out. And even with girls, like there's no cum coming out. So those are called dry orgasms. They're valid orgasms and they are totally safe. There's nothing wrong with them. But they do happen sometimes kapag na-over-edge yung person. And let's face it, minsan, half orgasm or not, kapag masyadong pinatagal yung play, which dapat nasisense ng partner mo. Kasi it could lead to frustration, you know? And dito pumapasok yung, again, yung communication, yung chemistry, yung compatibility, but also mindfulness. So, it's a two-way street. The receiver should be able to communicate what he or she feels, and yung partner niya dapat nagiget niya yung mga cues na yun and act accordingly. So, ngayon, alam na natin kung paano gawin ang edging, kung ano yung mga benefits na makukuha sa kanya, and kung ano yung mga possible sad effects na mangyari if we don't do it right. But a more important question is, why does edging feel so good? To make it simple and explain it in a straightforward manner, imagine yourself craving for cake and you decide to not get a slice of cake until natapos mo yung work mo or natapos mo yung nire-review mo. Once you do finish that work, it feels like you deserve that slice of cake for a job well done. Yung pleasure na makukuha mo from edging has the same psychological basis. Pero there's a difference kasi meron siyang basic physical principle kaya ang sarap niya. When you edge, merong increased blood flow to the pelvic area kapag ini-stop mo yung orgasm and then you continue stimulation later on. Kapag iniisip natin yung blood flow kasi, the first thing that comes to mind, even for me, the first thing that I think of is the penis. Kasi yun yung palaging nami-mention sa class or I don't know, with everything. But girls have erections too sa clitoris, and when we do edging, lumalakas yung erection for both girls and guys. Question: is edging the same as anorgasmia? Meron kasing medical condition known as anorgasmia or delayed ejaculation, but edging is not the same thing. Delayed ejaculation is a legitimate medical condition where yung guy hindi siya capable of ejaculating. And if they do, they usually need a long time, like half an hour or longer, of stimulation before sila nakakapag-come. It can be caused by different things. Merong psychological, merong physical conditions, and ito kasi nadadiagnose siya actually by doctors, and it has its own treatment regimen, and minsan may medications pa, but it's not the same as edging. So we are going to end this episode with the question, is it possible to practice edging on your own? Can you try edging on yourself? We already said kanina na yes, it is possible, but let's talk a little bit more about that. Sabihin natin na may birthday party ka or may celebration or something sa bahay, and in-invite mo yung barkada mo. Siguro, if you are gonna cook meals for them or if you're gonna order food for them in advance, hindi mo isi-serve yung food without trying it first, right? It's the same thing eh. The best way to find out kung ano yung umaandar para sa'yo and sa katawan mo is by trying out which edging technique works best for you during masturbation. And dito mapasok yung iba-ibang methods na sinabi natin kanina. And you could try experimenting with those. For women, they could edge by changing up yung mga sensations during masturbation. Hindi lang yung speed or yung rhythm or yung pattern ng movement. So if you're using just your fingers, tapos usually yung strokes mo slow and rhythmic sa clit mo, you can start that way. Pero along the way, kapag nafe-feel mo na yung tension, and nagiging intense na yung sensations, you can change it up with either doing circular motions instead of rhythmic motions and go faster instead of slower. And if you have toys, if you have vibrators, much easier kasi you could simply just change up the speeds or yung vibrating pattern ng toy, and it would kind of confuse your pelvic area, for a lack of a better term. And kung may toys ka pero kind of pare-parehas yung category nila, then why the next time you go sex toy shopping, try investing in toys na usually hindi makakaget ng attention mo or yung hindi mo sila bibilin ordinarily. So in short, try something new. And it might just work for improving your edge play. To end this episode, I just want to reiterate something that has been a recurrent message sa podcast, I think, since day one, is that self-exploration is very important. Self-discovery is something that everyone should do, not just with sex stuff, Sabi nga nila, bago ka magmahal ng iba, mahalin mo sarili mo. So, I think it also applies with sexuality and your health. How would you know what feels good? How will you tell your partner, do this to me, or I don't like that, or I like that? How could you maximize intercourse kung ikaw, sa sarili mo, hindi mo alam what makes you tick, what turns you on, what feels good? I've been saying this so many times. I feel like sirang plaka na ako at this point, but I just want to say that kasi it's also relevant to tonight's topic, but also I just want to put that message out there. Masturbation is a great way to do self-discovery. There's tons of other ways you can read up. There are so many resources online. Obviously, you could reach out to our show, send us a message. We do answer audience queries. You can send a message on Anchor, on our Facebook page, sa Twitter, sa Instagram, where else? Sa YouTube then? Whatever it is easy to get in contact with us, and we love getting these messages kasi engaging with the listeners is like next level happiness for us. So there's that, and there are other avenues then to get advice or help or professional opinion. Maraming ibang shows and podcasts that focus on sex and sexuality in a positive way. Gusto ko lang i-shoutout yung Now Open PH. Special thanks to Trisha for guesting in our previous episode. That was really awesome. I myself have learned so much personally. So thank you again for that, Trisha. And before I end this and say goodbye, good night, gusto ko lang magpasalamat sa Philippine Podcast Directory. They are having the first ever PPD Awards this December, and I have been nominated for the Female Podcaster of the Year Award, along with other amazing girls sa mundo ng podcasting sa Pilipinas. So I'm really honored to be a part of that lineup, and a lot of you guys have voted already, and I'm very grateful of that. You guys are amazing. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig, sa pagsuporta, sa pagboto, kahit wala naman kayong nakukuha from doing so. So thank you for that. And if you haven't yet, the link to vote for me, if you want, is still in our social media accounts. Nasa bio yan. Sa Twitter, sa Instagram, sa Facebook. Nasa show notes din ng episode na to. I'm gonna put it there. And that's all. Thank you again, PPD. Thank you to everyone who has voted already. Thank you to everyone who has been listening. Shout out sa mga Pinoy na nakikinig sa UAE, sa Italy, sa Canada. Thank you for making the Pechay Show rank sa charts overseas. That is mind-blowing for me. So maraming salamat. And of course, majority of our audience still is from the Philippines and the US. So maraming salamat, mga kapechay. Kung nasan man kayo sa mundo, maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Oh my God. I can't believe we're in our 29th episode and you guys are still here. And I'm getting more plays. It's crazy. Please, abangan po ninyo ang round 30. Ang season finale ng season 3 is gonna be very fucking special. I am so excited for that. So sana abangan ninyo bago tayo mag-season break over the holidays. I think that will be December 2 ang final episode ng The Pechay Show for 2020. So please be there. Antayin ko kayo and have a good night mga Pechay. Maraming salamat.